Hi, I'm Chi-Chi Hu, a member of technical staff here at VMware. This video describes how to define and apply the subnet level IP mapping rule to virtual machines in VMware Site Recovery Manager. Site Recovery Manager's DR IP Customizer tool allows you to define subnet level IP mappings at the network level to simplify IP address management when VMs recover to the recovery site. This feature is especially useful when you have a large number of VMs with a statically defined IP configuration in a given network. Instead of navigating to each VM and setting IP customization parameters, you specify an IP customization rule that Site Recovery Manager automatically applies to applicable VMs during recovery. No further per VM configuration is needed. The IP customization rule applies to virtual machines failing over from a protected site IPv4 subnet to a recovery site IPv4 subnet. IPv6 rules are not currently supported. During recovery, Site Recovery Manager evaluates the existing IP configuration of the recovered VM's NICs and reconfigures static NICs on the protected site subnet to the recovery site subnet. If the rule matches, Site Recovery Manager derives the new static IPv4 address from the old one. It preserves the host bits of the original IPv4 address and places it to the target subnet. You can use this rule for test workflows as well as recovery workflows. If you add a new protected VM to a network that has the IP subnet rule already defined, the rule is automatically evaluated, and if the VM IP configuration matches, the rule is applied to the new VMs. Note that you can define only one rule per network mapping, and you cannot reuse rules between different network mappings. If you have DHCP-enabled NICs, network configuration remains unchanged after recovery. In the vSphere web client, click Site Recovery, Sites, and select a site. On the Manage tab, select Network Mappings. Select a network mapping for which to define a customization rule. To define a rule, click Add IP Customization Rule. Enter a name for the rule. Specify the subnet IP ranges that map to the protected and recovery sites. Specify the network settings for the recovery site network. If you leave the default gateway text box empty, Site Recovery Manager derives the new gateway parameter from the original one by preserving the host bits of the original IPv4 address and placing it in the target subnet. Click OK to save your changes. Site Recovery Manager validates the address syntax for all IP parameters, such as target gateway and DNS server addresses. If specified, these parameters are applied verbatim during recovery. By default, the IP mapping rule will be evaluated and potentially applied to all VMs failing over from the protected to the recovery network specified in the given network mapping. Sometimes, however, you might want to have a finer-grained control over IP mapping rule applicability. SRM provides two levels of controls: per site, which you can set in advanced options, and per VM, which you can set in VM recovery settings. Let's look at how to control IP mapping rule applicability per site. In the vSphere web client, select Site Recovery, Sites, and select a site. On the Manage tab, click Advanced Settings. Click Recovery, click Edit. Select Recovery.Use IP Mapper Automatically checkbox. By default, it's on. This means that for all VMs configured to use Auto IP Customization mode, the IP mapping rule will be evaluated. You can choose to deselect Recovery.Use IP Mapper Automatically to effectively disable IP mapping rules site-wide for all auto-configured VMs. One reason you might want to disable the rule site-wide is to speed up recovery in some configurations, as IP mapping and customization involve associated runtime costs. Now, let's look at how to control IP mapping rule applicability per VM. There are two IP customization options affecting IP mapping rule applicability per VM: Auto and Use IP Customization if applicable. In the vSphere web client, select Site Recovery, Recovery Plans. On the Related Objects tab, click Virtual Machines. Right-click a virtual machine and click Configure Recovery. click IP Customization. From the IP Customization Mode list, you see Auto, Use IP Customization Rules if applicable, Manual IP Customization, and No IP Customization, that is, manual. If you use the default auto option, the rule applicability is determined by the value of recovery.useIPMapper automatically option in advanced settings. If recovery.useIPMapper automatically is set to true, the rule will be evaluated against the VM. If you use IP customization rules, if applicable, the rule will always be evaluated regardless of the value of recovery.useIPMapper automatically. Site Recovery Manager evaluates these rules during recovery to customize the VMs. IP customization might succeed, fail, or skip the step if the rule doesn't apply. Incorrect settings impact many VMs, not just one. You can double-check target IP parameters by using the test failover mode to verify accuracy. If you deselect the option, the IP mapping rules are not evaluated during recovery. You can override the option for each VM in VM recovery settings, IP customization mode. The default value is set to true. For more information on customizing IP properties for multiple virtual machines using IP customization rules, see the Site Recovery Manager administration documentation at pubs.vmware.com.